Hello students, welcome to another session of chess learning. Today we shall be learning the concept of intermediate moves in chess. First we shall know what forced moves are in chess, and then we shall be learning what intermediate moves are in chess and how can we use intermediate moves to win chess matches. So let's first understand what forced moves are in chess. Let's assume white starts with e4 and black plays e5. White goes knight f3 attacking the e5 pawn. Now black has various ways of defending the pawns. He can either play queen e7 protecting the pawn, because if now white takes, black will recapture with a queen and white will lose a knight for a pawn. So this is bad for white. Black has defended. So black can also play queen f6 with the same idea. Black's queen is protecting the pawn. Black can also go knight c6 defending with the knight. Black can also play bishop d6 protecting the pawn with his bishop, or black can play d6 protecting the pawn with his pawn. So there are many ways how black can defend this pawn. So when you have many good options and you make a move, for instance black plays d6, we call them unforced moves. That means there are many moves and we are just choosing one of the moves. Now let's assume white plays bishop b5 and checks black. Now again black has many different ways to defend. He can block the check by playing c6, he can play bishop d7, he can play knight d7, he can play knight c6. There are various ways how check can be blocked. Now obviously queen d7 is not a decent move because white will capture a queen for a bishop. So apart from this, black has got so many other ways of blocking the check. Therefore, all the moves are unforced, they can be played. Now let's assume black plays knight to c6 and white decides to capture the knight with his bishop. Now again black has many moves. He can block this check with a bishop or move his king away, but clearly recapturing with the pawn is the best move. Why? White has captured a knight. Black should capture the bishop back, otherwise he will be down a knight, right? So that is why this move is clearly the best move. So we call this forced move in chess. When all the other options are clearly bad, there is only one good move. We call them forced moves in chess. Okay, so now we understand what are forced moves, what are unforced moves. For example, if black played here and white captured the bishop, then black can recapture with a queen, king, or even knight. So these recaptures are unforced. You could have taken with a queen or knight. So there are options. But in this case, clearly there is only one way to capture, and that is forced reply by black. Okay, to understand this concept even better, let's move on to the next example. Here we have seen this position earlier, how white checkmates black using king and queen against king. Now since the king is already cornered, he has only one move to go. So black brings his king up near the opponent king and then checkmates with the queen. That's a plan, we know that. Just to repeat, when white plays king b2 to bring the king near, this move is the only move, it is the forced move. If white plays check, now the best move is to bring the king near. But suppose white decides to go for a check. Now black's move king to h7 is the only move available. This is a forced move. If white plays queen h5 e8 check, then the king has an option. He can go to either this square or this square. So any of the moves played by black is unforced move. Okay, so that is forced move and unforced move. Okay, now the next concept, which is very important for many games, that is the concept of intermediate move. Now that we know what forced moves are, sometimes we suffer from illusion. We think that this is the forced move, and then we realize that we had an option. So those are basically intermediate moves or in-between moves. So let's understand this concept through examples. The first example is taken from a game which was played in USA in 1941. The player with black pieces, his name is Livingston, and the player with white, his name is not known. And this was a very old game from 1941. White played d4, black played d5. White advanced his pawn, and black also advanced his pawn to e5. Now white played e3. Both sides have played lots of pawn moves in the center. Now black decides to take this pawn. Now white has an option of taking with the pawn or queen. So this is clearly unforced move. White decided to play e d4. Black played knight f6. White pinned this knight. That means tied this knight down. If the knight moves, white would capture the queen. Now black played bishop e6 and white took the pawn with his pawn. Once again, black has option. Black cannot take back with the knight because the knight is pinned. He will lose the queen which is behind with the bishop. So black can either recapture with the queen or with the bishop. He decided to take back with the bishop. Now white developed his other knight and black also developed knight c6. So both the players are bringing out their pieces quickly in the opening stages of the game. Now white took this bishop with his knight, and now since the knight is pinned, black had to take back with the queen. Now it's white to play, and white thought the queen is attacking the bishop which does not have any support, so why not first take the knight, and after black recaptures, white will continue to develop his pieces. But this was a big mistake because his assumption that gf6 is forced move was incorrect. This is not a forced move because black has an in-between move, bishop b4 check. So this was a mistake by white. He thought black is bound to take this and then we continue. But black said, no, no, no. Before capturing, first I will capture your queen. Because if white plays queen d2, we first capture the queen and then we capture the bishop. So this is an in-between move, which is a good move missed by white. And this is mandatory because if white plays king e2, then black will checkmate white by playing queen e4 check. So that was an elementary example where by mistake we assume that opponent will play the force move, but he has an intermediate move. That means an even better move than the so-called forced move. Now let's move on to the next example to understand this concept even better. Now the player with white pieces in this game is Dokshitsky and the player with black is Sherbakov. Okay, so don't get intimidated by the name. These are Russian names. The game was played in Moscow in the year 1945. We need not remember the names of the players, just understand the concept. Okay, white started with e4, black played e5, white attacked the pawn while developing, black defended the pawn while developing, white played bishop c4, and black went knight f6 attacking the pawn. Here white, instead of defending the pawn, went for counter attack against the e pawn. So if he captures, white can also capture this pawn. Now first black took this pawn, and after white recaptured, black captured this pawn and said, I am a pawn up. Now white played a brilliant sequence. He went bishop takes f7 check. He said, I've equalized the pawn and I'm attacking your king. But then black said, the bishop is unsupported. Now I'm a bishop up. White said, no, I've seen further. I will check you. Queen h5 check. Black blocked the check and white played queen d5 check. And now black realized that white is actually taking back the knight, so he won't be able to celebrate his extra bishop because black also recovers the knight. Game will be equal. But now comes the drama. Instead of taking this knight, white said, this looks like a forced move because I'm recapturing, but he played an intermediate move. He played in between move. First he took this knight, attacking the queen. Okay, his idea was, after black takes, then I will take this. So this is the intermediate move. Before playing an obvious move, we play an in-between move. Now, black said, okay, I also can play in-between moves. So what he did, although white is attacking the queen, black said, I will run away with this knight and I will counter-attack your queen. So that is an in-between move. Okay, so if white captures the queen, black will also capture the queen. Everything's equal, but this knight cannot come out. It's trapped. So black will capture this knight. The knight cannot come out. So this is how black thought he will punish white. But then white was one step ahead. He finished the game with a brilliant intermediate move. Okay, black thought he has played a brilliant move, attacking the queen, and when the queen moves, he will capture the knight. Black will be ahead. But white played a brilliant move. White thought, if I capture, black will also capture, and black will be having better situation because my knight cannot come out. It's trapped. So what I do, I will capture the queen, but only when after moving my queen out. So how can he first move his queen? Well, if he plays something, if he moves his queen, black will capture the knight. But he first played a brilliant move, intermediate move. Instead of taking the queen or moving his queen, he played a check, forcing black to capture. This is the forced move. There is no other way how black can escape check. And now white played queen d2 check. So he moves his queen with a check. And only then he captured the queen. So because of this in-between move of first moving the queen and then capturing the queen, white managed to win the game. So this was a brilliant game, forcing this king to come to a square where white queen can check and then capture the queen. So this way white won the game through intermediate move. Remember, the concept of forced move is moves which you are bound to play. The concept of intermediate move is before you play the forced move, you can even play better moves sometimes, and then you can play the move which is mandatory or obligatory. Like before taking the queen, we first play a better move and then capture the queen. So that is intermediate move. I hope you will use this technique to win many games in chess. Goodbye.